I'm Cindy Bowen, and thank you for joining me for this episode of Living a Life of Oneness. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. And I have a special guest here today with me, Davy, who is also an Earth Guardian. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Lee.
Hi, my name is Lee.
Thanks for that. So I'm excited to have you meet my fellow brother here, Lee, and just learn more about what it means to be an Earth Guardian and how we're applying this to the world, and to share with all of you what this journey means for us and for everybody else in the world too. So Lee, tell me a little bit about you first, like what you want to share and how you kind of came to be an Earth Guardian.
So for me, it's been quite a number of years in this lifetime, in this form, and it really dawned on me when we were at the ancient site, hearing about the origin, the natural order, and how the Mamos received their information, which is literally through the stones all across the planet, all across these ancient sites, hold this information that they've been entrusted with keeping alive. And it really just kind of, in that moment, came full circle from the origin of my journey and seeking of where the truth was. And at a really young age, like 13 years old, I started asking where truth was, because I didn't feel that what I was being told, what I was perceiving through my senses, held any truth. And as a result, I felt really alone, had anxiety, felt alien even. That was the first time I remember asking questions, and that journey over the last 30 years has led me into movement and nutrition and nootropics and martial arts and meditation and breath work and plant medicines and understanding the kind of the neuroscience of all of it, and really with every piece or with every tool or with every component that I added, I felt like I began to understand myself much better and who I actually was, and no matter what I was truly capable of. And with each of those pieces, it was like a little bit more truth, a little bit more truth, a little bit more truth. And then to hear the story of the wisdom keepers that are the Mamos at these ancient sites, which are literally stones in the middle of the rainforest that have all these drawings and circles and spirals and pictographs on them, and hearing them say that this is the wisdom, this is the knowledge, and this is what we've been entrusted with. It was just really a full circle moment for me to be like, wow, like all the questions, all the searching, all the pieces of this puzzle led me to this moment.
That was a really beautiful experience, and thank you for reminding me of that rock of creation. I don't remember the name of that rock. Do you? Or what park it was in? No, it was amazing with all the petroglyphs that were showing the insects, the frogs, the turtle, and the snake, and all the 9 planets, and just coming back to that point. And when you said that, when we were there, like my whole life has come back to this point of like the original point of creation. This rock of creation was just like mind blowing. I was like, oh wow, that was amazing. Like you put that all together for me. I was like, yeah, that's incredible. But I think a lot of people can relate to your journey and what you're feeling and what you're being drawn to. Tell me more about like what it was like to actually be with the Mamos at the retreat center and how that experience kind of played out for you.
Yeah, it was beautiful to hear. They tell everything or many of the things through story and through allegory, and so when I'm sharing with people now, I'm like, I share the story that they shared with us, and how they've been, if you look at it as concentric circles, they are kind of the inner circle, the origin, the natural order, and they've been entrusted with a small amount of land and certain sites and this wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Who have been entrusted with a little bit more land and a different type of wisdom. And then you've got, they call us younger brother. So then you've got younger brother who we were given all the rest of it, the lands and the resources and technology that we were entrusted with and money and all that stuff. And we went off on this big adventure but we were supposed to come back to remember. We didn't come back.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me that really kind of hit home of like, and my personal journey, and as we said, so many others now all across the planet that we're now coming back in a way to remember. And so for them to come down, from the Sierra Nevada, from the mountains of Colombia for the first time to share this wisdom with us. And then all of the other, aspects of this grand awakening, it really, really struck me of what an important time this is, and just how pure they are. They're one of the oldest, untouched by civilization, and just the purity that they had and the connection that they have with the planet. And what they shared with us was, it was just really, really profound. And I feel like with every word that was spoken, and they talk about, how our languages have really lost the frequency, have really lost just so much. So there's no real activation in the words that we speak anymore. And so this language that they've kept alive, and that they shared with us, there was activation. I feel like every word that they shared was like, oh, like a little bit more unlocking of myself, and another of it, kind of the true self. Like, who am I really? What am I really capable of? And this I feel like is an incredible piece of this puzzle, for us to continue to unlock each other. The truest aspects, our divine aspect of self, so that we can not only be activated but embody the divine self as we move forward. So yeah, it was a really profound experience.
Yeah.
And just a reminder of the importance of our connection with the planet.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and the connection of the sounds. And I remember them saying something about how the feminine languages were lost, and that the English language is not a feminine language. And so there's other languages, I think like French and maybe Spanish or something is the feminine language. And so how that feminine energy has been, not expressed through our words, not only, but like what you were saying, when we were hearing even though they were just using simple words and then speaking to us, those words that they spoke, it was like, like light codes of information were being downloaded. And I felt like my body was opening and feeling, like kind of exhausted by the end of the day, because it felt like I was metabolizing all of that energy. And I don't know how you felt in your body, but it seems like you kind of had a similar experience with that kind of opening and downloading happening.
Yeah, definitely downloading. I mean, my form tends to handle things pretty easily. I think. Every now and then I'll get tired. Like actually, the last probably the first 3 days when I got back to Mexico, I felt fatigued. But other than that, my body typically processes things pretty. And I find the movement component is a really important component for me to be able to do that. Yeah, definitely the activations and the unlocking and the light codes being downloaded, and I've been on this quote unquote mission to help to elevate the health and consciousness of the planet. And it just feels like it's been catapulted forwards with even more strength.
Yeah. So tell me more about that. So I know you have kind of your own mission and things that you're working on. How are you taking this wisdom that they shared with us and applying that to what you're already doing?
Well, so I'm co-stewarding with a dear friend Zigitas Bajornas, what we're calling the Unified Alliance. And the Alliance really is a planetary call to coherence. And coherence is the key word there, coherent action. Because there's action being taken all around the planet, but there's no coherence. Everybody's still kind of working in their silos. And we just connected with the World Freedom Alliance in the UK, who's doing something similar. So we're going to be connecting and working with them. And then we've now connected with the United Nations of Spirit, through Brother Diego, who's connected with a lot of the indigenous tribes and spiritual leaders, primarily in South America, but we're going to be connecting other tribes from around the globe with them, right? And then that's obviously connected to and plugging into the Mamos, and then the UA and the World Freedom Alliance. We're both connected with all kinds of organizations and communities and sustainable community development companies and essentially solutionaries, technology inventors, organizations that want to build schools, and so on and so forth. Like the ripples just kind of continue to go. So, so that the components of the UA are to create council with all of these connections so that we can really begin to hold each other accountable through authentic, transparent, and vulnerable communication, right? So that we can reflect back to each other, so that we can continue at that level, to educate on natural law versus like man's law, and just the importance of that, along with jurisdiction, and to fully protect human rights. Essentially, we're like the new United Nations for the new Earth, right? Beyond boundaries, beyond compromise, and beyond limits. And kind of an aside to that is to actually begin raising funds for four main components, and those main components are to develop schools that would actually teach the ancient wisdom as well as the more modern, the breathworks and meditations and energy systems, and kind of the science of it all, to create a conscious media organization that would really feature a lot of Brother Diego's works. He's been documenting, creating documentaries and films for the indigenous, and also for us to tell the story of this rebirthing that we're going through. Third component is to actually reclaim the lands for the Mamos and for other communities, and to educate around making payments to the lands and working with the land rather than kind of against it, or just doing whatever we're going to do regardless of that connection with the land. So really weaving in their wisdom to reconnect with the land, and then actually building communities with teaching individuals how to build sustainable communities, and then within that how to build your own furniture and grow your own food and cook your own meals. And so again, really coming back to the land. And then the final component is through these organizations to actually build these containers for the vulnerable, authentic communication, to hold each other accountable, so that we continue to up level and lift and support and elevate, so that we create a world that works for all of humanity, and the planet.
Yeah. Yeah, because it feels like what you're doing and what the overarching, main vision of the Mamos is to create order within the planet and balance. And, the order for them is getting these sacred sites reconnected, getting the energy points reconnected, getting the sacred lands back, so that they can maintain the balance and the energy of those sacred sites. And so it's all, with the payments, and I spoke in my previous podcast about the pagamentos, that are just necessary for making offerings to the earth to balance things. I didn't really go too much into detail about that, but just being able to share and connect people in that ancient wisdom and knowledge with everything that you're doing in a really big way is really wonderful to bring that into what you're already doing and funnel that very much needed ancient wisdom into supporting everything that we in the modern world are doing as well. And yes, I really appreciate that. So how do you feel personally before you went there and after you come back being an earth guardian? Like, do you feel something different about you, that you've shifted, or like what was that kind of just visceral experience like for you?
I mean, there's definitely a deeper connection with the planet, and that has been woven into, when I talk about this, it's not just about connecting with each other anymore. It's about making that connection with the planet. And to your point about, I see all of these connections. So again, kind of going back to this diagram is if younger brother and all the technology and all the resources and a lot of these like new earth, for lack of better terminology, projects are being created out here, and then we've got the indigenous and their lands and their wisdom, and then we've got the Mamos and the Lamas and their lands and their wisdom, right? I'm really feeling like these containers and these councils can, as we're plugging into the United Nations of Spirit and really starting to cross-pollinate, right? And as you said, kind of funnel in the information and the tech and the resources from that outer circle into the inner circle, and then they're starting to cross-pollinate the wisdom and the knowledge and everything that they've been entrusted with from the inner circle, then we really start to bring coherence and unite all peoples all across the planet, right? And that really is the goal. And then obviously that inner circle with the wisdom of the importance of the connection to and how to make payments to and receive blessings from the land are it's again for me there's a puzzle that we're piecing together, and all of those pieces are important. Like to just funnel resources in so that they can make payments, that's not going to create coherence and connection, across the other scale, across all of humanity and the entire planet. So what are the pieces of this puzzle that we can use to bring coherence and connection to all people in the planet?
Yeah. And I'll have to share your link to the UA and the other foundations that you talked about below so people can kind of tap in and tune into that and support that and become a part of that, because it's a really wonderful thing. I just spent a lot of time talking to Lee about that, and it's really awesome. So definitely check it out. Yeah. And Diego, you mentioned, is the film producer that did the documentary while we were there. So we'll have to get a link for his information too, and so people can support that as well. Have you heard anything about when the documentary is coming out? Have they said anything about that? No. Yeah. Well, we'll let everybody know when we hear. So anything else you want to share about the Mamos or your journey with them or what you're doing out in the world?
So again, like starting to see things in maps, and like it's interesting the site that's coming through, but really seeing this map of coming back to the natural order, right? And that it really kind of ties into everything else that we've spoken about. But the map really is more about the self, right? And so I'll just say, if there's a continuum from fear to love, from chaos to order, from stress to peace, disharmony to harmony, so on and so forth, right? As we create this map, I just ask every individual to assess where you are in this continuum of fear to love, right? And really be honest with yourself. And if you're super stressed and feel disconnected and feel like like you're out of touch and you're super fearful and so on and so forth, then be honest, right? But then look to the things that you can do to start to take your power back from feeling like that. Right? Whether it's eating healthier or meditation or becoming present to the present moment, which is essentially mindfulness, to detoxification, to going outside and hugging a tree. Literally, you hug a tree, you'll feel better. You'll feel less stressed, right? There are tools and coaches and programs, free. You can do yoga online. Like there's all kinds of information and tools at our disposal. Take an honest assessment of where you are and take a step to feeling better, to coming back into order, back into love, to coming back into peace, to coming back into connection, right? Take a step wherever you are, and then take the next step, right? Or if you're only good taking that one step, right? Just take that single step over and over and over again until it becomes your new normal, your new homeostasis point, and then take the next step, right? And small steps over the course of a year, you're going to need a telescope to look back at where you were, right? And if you employ that, the small incremental improvements. I have a friend that used to say, more isn't better, better is better, and better leads to more.
That's awesome.
Take a step, and with each step, you're going to feel more like the true self, more like who you really are. You're going to be able to put these pieces of that puzzle together with who you truly are and what you're truly capable of. And I promise you, it's so much more than you could ever have been led to believe, right? And then when you do that, one of my favorite quotes is, know thyself and thou shalt know the universe and God. So you're going to know yourself more, and because you know yourself more, you're going to know everybody else more. And when you do that, you're going to reconnect to the knowingness that we are one. We're one with each other, and we are one with the planet, and that's how we're going to heal. That's how we're going to get better.
So I want to add to that, one of the beautiful things that Kandimaku said, who's the messenger of the Mamos, is that even when he said there is no good or bad, there's only positive and negative polarity. And when things show up that are essentially bad, like you're having a bad feeling or a bad day or a bad life experience, that you don't have to like those moments, but you can be grateful for them, because he said those negative or bad things happen in order to create change, to shift things. And so when those seemingly bad things show up, or you're having a bad life experience, just look at that with gratitude and say, oh, this is trying to change things. This is trying to shift something for me. I just have to, like you said, be present with that, and then be like, oh, it's trying to put things back in balance by going so extremely, like I've really led my path, down this path, a really extremely bad way. It's trying to reset me by making it worse and worse and worse as I go on. My health might get worse if I don't pay attention to it. It's because my body's trying to put me back in balance, and so being grateful for when those things show up and honoring that. And you're like, oh, it's trying to create balance. That's wonderful. Okay, so now I just need to do the things that I need to do to make that balance happen, and so, or be open to receive, something different happening in your life. If you're trying to go down this path and it's not working, it's like, well, see where life's trying to rebound to and shift you into, because it could be exactly what you want, but it's just not how you would expect it to look, you know? So, yeah, so that whole positive, negative polarity thing is just a really beautiful dance of balance, really.
Yeah, yeah, and it's, I'll add to that is that it's, it's our perspective that would turn something into good or bad, right? Mm-hmm. And if you switch that perspective entirely to everything is happening for me in every moment, mm-hmm. right? Then, like you said, it's just more of a course correction with perceived negative things, because if it's happening for me, then it's an opportunity to, learn, heal, expand in some way, course correct. And as I get the lesson, as I get the healing, as I expand more into the true self, who I truly am, right? Beyond all of it. And yeah. So everything is happening for me in every moment, and it's an opportunity to expand into more of piece that puzzle together, so you clarify the picture.
And that's, and that's what we're just kind of calling everyone into action to do, because, one of the first things that they said to us in, how to create order in the planet, that the Mamos were speaking to us through Kandimaku, was that to create order within yourself. And that's what the planet needs, is for you to order yourself and order your life and order your finances and order your health and your family and your lineage and all those things, and to work on ordering yourself, and that will feed into ordering the planet as well. And so Lee and I have been sitting here chatting about, how to, apply this to the world and to share it with all of you. And, his organization is a really wonderful way to get involved and start becoming a part of ordering yourself and ordering the planet, with not just the Mamos, but, a lot of multitude of ways of how you can, work with schools and such and things like that. So I'm looking forward to see how this all kind of grows and pans out for you and for us and for the collective, and, everybody just kind of working together to create order on the planet, so that we can keep this lovely Mother Earth in balance and harmony and beautiful and healthy. And, but also starting with ourselves first in that balance and that order. So, yeah. So thank you. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Any other comments you have for us? Final words of wisdom?
No, I think like you said, the self.
Yeah.
Was the place to start.
Okay.
So just take that first step.
Great. Well, thanks for taking the time, Lee. And I'll put the links again below for you guys to get in touch with Lee if you want to be part of his organization or learn more about the filmmakers that have been working with us as well. And of course, you can always reach out to me if you want to connect about the Mamos as well, and some of the earth wisdom that we learned and so forth. And so I'll add more later to that in my podcast. But for now, I'm going to say thank you to Lee and just say, many blessings. Thank you so much for your time.
Always my honor and pleasure. Thank you.
Okay. Good to see you, brother. All right. Have a good one. To learn how you can start living a life of oneness, please reach out to me at lifeofoneness.com and learn more about intuitive healing sessions, award-winning books, events, and more.